Hello everyone, Courtney here. Back in episode 14, we talked about the importance of decluttering your mental space. And for most people, that is the much bigger challenge that we struggle with. If you feel a constant sense of overwhelm, or want to really make the best use of your time, I'd consider giving it another deep listen. But today's podcast is all about the physical space, your workspace. Welcome to episode number 24. Let's get into it.
Where inventing, passion, and hard work intersect. Welcome to the Serial Inventing Podcast. Bite-sized, perspective-altering episodes on serial inventing and beyond. From motivating key tips on product licensing to obstacle-busting conversations on transitioning to a full-time serial product developer. Buckle your seatbelt, because you're in for a ride. Warning, this podcast may motivate you to make wild decisions that will propel you forward in your inventing career and hijack more of your time for your passion. If you aren't ready to make it happen, then this podcast isn't for you.
Ever heard of people coming up with the best ideas when they are in the shower? Has that happened to you? It happens to me all the time, and often they're actually some of my best ideas. In fact, I have a waterproof notepad in my shower for that purpose. I love them so much. They're on my website, serialinventing.com, under an inventor's wish list. Interestingly, there is a term in British English called shower thoughts. The Collins Dictionary defines it as follows: a sudden idea that occurs to a person during an unconnected mundane activity. And this leads into a much larger discussion. Where else do you get good ideas? Driving, for me, brings lots of ideas to my head, which is also an unconnected, mundane activity. It's almost like when we least expect it, and when our brain relaxes and declutters, we can think clearly. Well, fancy that. In fact, the University of Virginia did a study in 2022 they called the shower effect, which I placed in the show notes. I'm going to read an excerpt from it. Creative idea generation requires a balance between focused, linear thinking, which limits originality, and unbounded random associations, which are rarely useful. Activities like walking may help us strike this balance by allowing mind wandering in an engaging environment that places some constraints on thought. And through the study, they found the following to be true. Constraining your thoughts through minor stimulation seems to promote more creativity compared to if your mind is wandering and there's nothing going on around you. We now know that by doing mundane tasks, but not too mundane, as it states in the study, can help us solve problems and also be creative and help us come up with ideas. But what about when we are at home? We want to feel inspired, motivated, and excited when we are ready to work on our ideas or focus on pitching. But if our space feels like it doesn't encourage those three feelings, I think we need to rethink our workspace. Look at your desk right now and ask yourself, does it feel inspiring? Does it feel motivating? Does it excite you? If you don't currently even have a focused, singular desk space of your own, I would start there and consider lighting, location, and the colors of the room. Start with trying to achieve those feelings and think about when and where you feel those feelings or whatever feelings you're trying to achieve in other places. Now, if you currently have a desk space but is cluttered with stuff, here is your task of the week. Step 1. Go over to your desk. Take a deep breath. Then, take a photo of it. A bird's eye view photo, if you will. Step 2. Find a staging ground location. Bonus points if the staging ground isn't in your room. Step 3. For the moment of truth, take everything off of your desk. And I mean everything: monitor, pens, mousepad, everything. Step 4. Once empty, take another photo of the same view. Step 5. Look for inspiration online of clean, inspiring desk setups. What would be some very strategic things to put on your desk that inspire you and also keep you focused? Some things I would recommend would be a very wide mouse pad, which I have placed in the show notes, inspiring yet simple art, a plant, a pen holder, and colored sticky notes or a lined notepad. Maybe even some colored pencils just to liven up the color scheme of your desk. Everything else unpurposeful or that you don't use at least once a week should not make it back on your desk. And other things like tape, scissors, and extra pens should be placed elsewhere, or under your desk or in a drawer, away from visual clutter. Visual clutter is referring to items that we see on countertops, our desk, and other surfaces of all sizes, colors, and shapes. Visual clutter stresses out our eyes and therefore our lives. We need to remove and avoid creating visual clutter as much as we possibly can. I placed an article about it in the show notes. And finally, step 6. Take another photo of your new inspiring desk and look at the difference. Now, if you do this and don't like the outcome, keep working on it. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither does your desk space need to be. But I would recommend making it a priority. Sitting down at your workspace, you want to feel relaxed and focused. You will feel so many emotions in this one place. Getting your first deal, getting rejected hundreds of times, people being rude to you, getting the nicest of compliments. You will get the array, and you need to be in an inspired and professional space, and therefore mental space, to be prepared to embark on this exciting roller coaster. And dare I say, creating a decluttered workspace can also lower your mental clutter too. A large part about being a serial inventor is making things work for you. Or shall I say, making things work for you. So you only spend time doing things you either absolutely must do or love doing. And this is a part of creating that. Now, we all have different lives. And that means that some of you who are listening to this podcast have kids, are taking care of their parents, or otherwise have incredibly busy lives where there is very little workspace left for you that isn't taken over for other pursuits. There is no designated nor dedicated inventing space for you. And I get it. I really do. But we still need to do something about that. So instead of fighting fire with fire, I would recommend stepping away from all of the distractions at least once a week. Those who have the ability to create a dedicated inventing workspace in their house are blessed with working on inventing at any moment. But for others, it needs to be deliberate. And in my eyes, when it truly comes down to being a serial inventor, that dedicated space can be created in your mind. I don't care where you work, as long as you work efficiently and in an environment you enjoy. And sometimes that means paying money to the coffee gods in exchange for a focused workspace. I have many students at InventRight who have so many distractions at home they cannot work at home. It is not conducive to creativity or having a relaxed mental state. The coffee shop is their sanctuary. The park is their sanctuary. The library is their sanctuary. And you know what? It works great. No distractions where other people are working, and it's a deliberate space. You are out of the house, so you will make the most of your time. And for those of you who do have a nice, clean, distraction free workspace at home, you should try working somewhere else for a change and see if anything changes for you mentally or creatively. To recap this episode, A. If you want to be more creative or are stuck trying to solve a problem, go for a walk, take a shower, or drive somewhere. Do something mundane, but not too boring to help your brain. In fact, did you notice that all three of these activities force you to be stuck with your mind by yourself? Give a re listen to episode 20 on radio silence to get a deeper look into that, and then maybe a check into the abyss in episode 8. B. Declutter your workspace and create an inspiring one. And C. Try going to different locations to limit distractions and improve focused, dedicated work time. Look out on my website for another Adventures in Licensing comic to come out on this very workspacey topic. Your action for the week is to clean up your desk, remove that visual clutter, and create an inspiring, dedicated workspace you will love to work at. After all, your workspace is essentially the building of the place you go to work, your workplace. In fact, I'll make you a deal. If you send me a comparison photo via message on LinkedIn, I will happily share with you a very simple yet powerful way to hold yourself accountable to your goal when you do have that dedicated time to work away from home, or know exactly how much time you have to work on inventing at home. I think this ending quote is an exciting lesson as an inventor that we can gain from the shower effect study. Not thinking about the things that we think are relevant and stepping outside of our assumptions about the world can be really helpful to creative problem solving. And if you think your workspace doesn't seem all that relevant to getting a licensing deal or becoming a serial inventor, well then, I would guess again. Thanks for tuning in and taking a few bites with me today. And remember, serial inventors don't make excuses, they make it happen. See you soon!